So I started to work for Yellowknife Airways. We had quite a time there, and finally I left there after a couple of years. Excuse me. Went to Edmonton, got my engineer's license, and by the time, I should have said that halfway through 1951, my Associated Airways had taken over Yellowknife Airways. So I was back with Associated Airways. And anyway, they had started a helicopter section. And I got on with that. Got my endorsement on the helicopters, and then from there I went with charters, like, not charters, I shouldn't say that, contracts. The first one was Gulf Oil, and we traveled all the western Northwest Territories and the Yukon. A couple of times we even sneaked into Alaska, but they didn't know that. And so, anyway, it was quite a time. I would leave home before the snow left and get back after the snow come. So I was away for about 12 years, all summer. Had a little interesting deal on one of the times there with Gulf. We were camped at the mouth of the Mountain River, and I don't know whether anyone here knows what the Mountain River is like, but we were right on the mouth of it where it joins the Mackenzie. The Mountain River is very fast. Mackenzie was very fast. And we also had a beaver on charter on the same contract. And whenever the party chief or one of the brass from Calgary was on board, I had to fly with it. So, this time, the beaver had a regular crewman. I wouldn't say he was a mental genius or anything, but he was told many times, never push the airplane into a river unless the engine started. And I guess the guy that wrote down all these laws on different things that happen took a bite out of the Murphy that was affiliated with his, so his name. So anyway, we got out into this water, and of course it was only a matter of a couple of minutes before we were into the Mackenzie. And the Mountain River is maybe a quarter of a mile from the Sansu Rapids, and it has a drop at that time about maybe 6 feet or maybe 8 feet. We can get close enough to find out. But anyway, this pilot, he had just taken over from Dunk Matheson, who wanted a couple of weeks off. He wasn't too familiar with the beaver. Earl Lozo was his name. And the starter on the beaver he was an inertia starter. And for those people who don't know what that was, they had a excuse me, had a switch that you kick the switch up, and it wound up until it just about screaming. Then you flick another switch that kicked it in. But the other switch, for some reason, muster at that same amount of laws, because it wouldn't work. So he got all excited, and he said, what am I supposed to do? And I said, there's a lever down on the other side. I said, pull it out. It'll kick the starter in. Well, he was so excited, he grabbed this grabbed this handle and he yanked, and it was on piano wire. It come out and flinging around the cockpit. So here we were. Here we were going down the Mackenzie River, 60 bushel the acre, and so anyway, I could see what the heck might happen. So I told these three fellas in the back, I said, get the seat belts under or the life jackets out from under the seats, take your seat belts off and latch both doors open. And I said, if I say jump, don't hesitate. So anyway, I got out onto the float, and some of you people, I guess, fly beavers, and I don't know whether you've ever tried hand cranking them or not, but necessity was such that, so I was hanging on with one hand and yelling, prime it and contact, etc. And I would swing it. Well, out of the corner of my eye, I was watching how close we were coming to these damn falls, and anyway, not only my neck got sore from twisting around, but my arm got awful sore. And Lozo was little, he didn't follow the directions quite as quick as he should have. So anyway, we were about maybe 50 feet from these Sansu Rapids. So I thought, well, one more try. And I told the fellows, I said, if it doesn't start now, get the hell out. So anyway, I grabbed a hold of it. I told him, switch is on. I give her a crank. He must have had the damn throttle pushed to the boat because it started. I just had time enough to turn around and grab the strut. I almost smothered in the water that was being shot up. Well, we were roaring up the river about 300 yards. 25 feet would have been good enough, but here I was under all this water. So we went on this trip, and not only the chief geologist back at the camp tore a strip off this fellow, but I tore 2 strips off when I got back. So that's about the end of that story. But I have another little one that I should tell you that when Associated brought Bristol freighter, and on board was a bunch of furniture and appliances and stuff for a new pilot, which was coming in. Also, they had cases of oil and stuff for the base. So it was still sitting on the ice. And that Carey, they had sent him up from Fort Smith to do some flying here in Yellowknife. And he had only been here 2 or 3 days, and we had a trip to Reliance. So Westergaard, who was the base manager at that time, he said, you better go with him and show him where to land over there. And I'd been to Reliance quite a few times. So anyway, I got into the cockpit, and Pat started the airplane. It was a Beaver, and warmed it up, and we're on skis, and just for the hell of it, I said, watch that stuff on the ice pad. And he was kind of a snarly fella anyway, and he said, what do you think I am, blind? He whammed the throttle forward, torque took over, and there was electric stove, cans of oil all over the goddamn place. And I just turned to him and I said, yeah, I think you're blind. So that's about it.